What's good with the YouTube? You already know. This is Felons and Men's Podcast with Big Toco and Big Flacco. Represent, man. All the mixed felons out there that made it out home, that are doing positive, that have that push, man. We know what it's like, man. We've been there and done that. So, man, what we want to discuss here, man, is about this active shooting stuff that's been going on, man. We already know what happened in Texas yesterday, Boston. Where was it at? San Bernardino as well, man. There's been a lot of shootings lately, man. Like it's it seems like these things come in waves. You know what I'm saying? But I noticed the one thing I want to point out before we start this, Toko, is the shooters are getting younger in age. The one in Boston was 18 years old. The one in Texas was 18 years old. You know, two different people, two different types of family backgrounds, two different scenarios, but the same result, man. And that's kind of alarming and concerning. You know what I mean? One was had some racial overtones to him, prejudice and so forth, targeted blacks. The other individual was going through some potential gender issues. It almost seems like, you know what I mean? I know there was a couple false pictures of it in transgender clothes, but there's also a couple pictures where you could kind of see like a little bit of almost feminine looks. You know what I mean? You could tell as men, you could tell when a man has a little bit feminine qualities. And so we want to talk about these active shooting, man, and how they affect our communities, man. And being ex-felons, it makes it harder for us because technically we're not supposed to have any firearms.
Yeah, the narrative fits what the topic is. It's seems like it's an ongoing, I don't even want to say trend. I just think that there's been so many within the last couple of years with the pandemic and everything that's happened. It seems like it's more and more, it's no longer a nuance. It's almost like every few months you get to hear something. Case in point, the tragedy that happened in Texas. You're talking, between what was the ages of 5 and 8, second and third graders, something like that. Innocent kids that it breaks my heart, and that's not an exaggeration, because these kids are just, they got no idea. They're learning right from wrong still, and it's I don't want to say it's a tough break, but it just puts that much more added pressure on a society, especially here in the United States, that, the future is unforeseen. We don't know, with the economy, with everything else, it's almost like a pressure cooker waiting to go off. And, Flock and I were just talking about this on another spill. Well, what I'm about to say next is, the victims have families, first and foremost. They did not deserve, I don't care how bad kids are, they're kids. They're learning. No child deserves to be gunned down or brutally murdered ever. It's never okay, no matter what you're going through or what's going on. It shouldn't have happened. Now, you're going to hold the police accountable for it. You're going to hold parents accountable for it. Well, from what I understand, he gunned down his grandmother. I don't know if she's still alive, but that was what the reports were as of yesterday.
She's still alive.
And so for this individual to do that, at least the media is going in a direction of they're trying to find out what was going on. I know they were looking at social media posts. I know Flacco said those were proven to be false pictures of him dressed a certain way, or I don't even want to say that, pointing towards he had a gender identity crisis.
The people, the public are so terrible, man. I mean, they're worse than trolls. Okay, there was people putting out pictures of him saying that he was an immigrant, that he was a troll, not troll. I mean, a transgender, all kinds of stuff, man. Like, you mean a bunch of young kids just got killed? You know what I mean? Like, have a little compassion as far as, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did a little spill on this, man, and I firmly believe this, man. And I don't believe it's guns that kill people. I believe it's people that kill people. You know what I'm saying? I think that I've said this over and over again. You know, the United States of America will give people guns that don't deserve them, right? But take away from those that probably need them. You know what I'm saying? We're ex-felons. We paid our debt to societies. We're off parole. We should be given that opportunity to be able to have a firearm for ourselves, man, without consequences. You know, and you know, I was watching something today, man, and I fucking liked it. What he said, man. It was a little short that American Cholo did, like 39 seconds. I don't know if you've seen it. It was fucking on time. He was going off. He's like, you know, you motherfuckers want to defund the police and this and that, but now look what happens when you need them. He was keeping it 100, bro, and that's the truth.
Yeah.
I'm not a believer of defunding the police. I'm a believer in allocating the funds appropriately. You know what I'm saying? Because we need law enforcement. They fucking responded to that incident. It could have got way worse. You know what I'm saying? The initial police officers that were there on the campus, they didn't really react that right. I don't know if that was a lack of training. They thought it was a school, and you know they don't expect this to happen. That could be considered, man. But the tactical team that went up in there, they kicked ass, man. You know what I'm saying? And he made a point about it, man. I was like, man, you know what? It's true, because when you need them, you cry when they're not there. But when they do this and that, then you're fucking playing that you don't want them. What is it? You know what I'm saying? You know?
Well, I just think that it fits. As long as it benefits whoever it benefits is where law enforcement comes in, right? Everything else, you know, and let's keep in mind too, you know, we're not taking shots at law enforcement. If anything, I'm trying to put myself in their position. The first responders to that, imagine them walking into that classroom.
Yeah, man. Imagine what they were. You know what I mean?
You know, and every law enforcement officer, they're at different degrees for a reason. There's tactical teams, there's SWAT teams, there's your regular uniform cops. There's all these different divisions, and they're in those divisions. Why? Because they've been trained, they specialize in that. So you got to remember these cops, male, female, non-binary, whatever. Just trying to be politically correct here. If they wear a badge, they're still human beings too, and just like Flacco and I, we all have breaking points, right? And they do too. So God knows what they went through. So, you know, shots goes out to them for having to be the first responders on that, because you know, American Cholo, what he said, kind of, you know, it does ring true. You need law enforcement, because who are they going to call? Me and Flacco to go respond to that? They're going to call a bunch of guys that, no, they're not. You know, they're going to count on law enforcement, the tax dollars, however the state of Texas does it or whatever or whatnot, you know, but there's a deeper thing that's going on right now. And, you know, at least the media, because there's an abundance of so many of these shootings. When I first turned it on, the first thing was they were already going through this guy's social media. They were already trying to find out why, his posts, who he's communicating with. Whereas you heard before, and all these other active shooters, they didn't do that. They want to look at his family life. They're going to hit his house first. They don't bother going through his background till everything is said and done. They were on it as soon as this guy was put down, and Texas was on it, which lets you know Texas law enforcement's not going to mess around. There's not going to be any negotiate. You know, I believe that they did the right thing. You know, you got innocent kids. What was it, 14 or 18, plus a teacher in a in a high area where there's a minorities, many raza, right, by a border town in Texas, a place where probably people want to migrate to because it's so small and it's probably safe. Other than this, and then you get somebody. If I you know, the disclaimer is on this, I believe he wrecked his truck first and then ran to the school.
Or a car, yeah, something like that, yeah. Something like that. Too.
So maybe possibly, you know, the shooting with this, because this happened at 11:30 or 11 o'clock their time in Texas, which is not too far away from where Flacco and I are in the Southwest. But I didn't hear about it till later on that evening, and you know, it just right away it makes you angry, it makes you upset. But the one thing that kind of calmed me down was they already had this guy's picture. They already were looking into his background. They were already in. They were on it. You know, I mean, it shows that that the preparation from all these other ones that have happened earlier, that you know what, at least law enforcement, or at least the people that are in charge, the powers that be, are starting to take notice. There's a pattern here. They got
Yeah.
to go look, just in case there's going to be something more to that. Now, as far as
You know,
Boston and all these other areas, Flacco, maybe I'll to elaborate more on that, because I had kind of vaguely heard. I've been paying more attention to the Texas because it's close to home to where I'm at.
there's been so many, Toko. It's ridiculous, man. And I did a little spill on this topic, man. I'm gonna bring it up, man, and I want your views on it. You know, I'm a firm believer, man. As parents, as uncles, as cousins, as friends, whatever. When we see behavior that is kind of questionable, that we know may lead into other things, we as parents, uncle, family members, as friends, whatever, have to take the initiative to seek help for the child. You know what I mean? Too often or not, parents get stuck with the stigma of what they think others are going to feel about them if their kid has some type of mental issues or disabilities. The problem is that 80 to 85% of everyone in this country suffers from a mental disorder, believe it or not. There's only 3,000 doctors that are qualified to be able to determine that. That's not that many in this country. So what I'm trying to get at, man, is everything needs to be looked at in a whole different perspective of things, man. Like, when you look at your kids, man, and they start to do weird things, man, if they're doing them, address it, assess it. If you really truly care about your kids, get them the help now if you start to see any red flags. Don't neglect it, because a lot of parents, it's their pride and ego. They don't want to feel like maybe their kid has some issues that they can't help. And all that does is it builds until you have these incidences, you know what I mean, that occur just like this. I mean, I've been in school in elementary school where you always had that kid that was a little weird, that did weird shit. You know what I'm saying? They end up doing killing their parents or something like that later on. I swear to God, you can see the signs. And as a parent, you got to sit there and identify it. As an aunt, uncle, grandma, whatever. If you know something's wrong, you got to be that advocate for that child. Too often people don't. They just ignore it because it's their pride. Oh, nothing's wrong with my kid. Well, it doesn't matter if they're wrong or right. Do something about it. If I see any of my kids start to have any type of behaviors, like, coming home and cats are skinned and the neighbor's cats are disappearing and dogs are disappearing, I'm going to take the initiative to do something about it. Yeah. That's what we're supposed to do as adults, because you're getting to the problem, hopefully to the root, before it grows. Because these people didn't just become like this overnight. That's what people failed to realize. He was 18 years old. But you just don't wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm going to go shoot a whole fucking school. And they're going to be all elementary kids. There was something more to this.
Yeah. A lot of people are starting to point the direction of maybe COVID, the lockdown for these younger people.
I believe that too.
You know what I mean? And I think there's some merit in that, but I think in lieu of the fact of everything that's going on, with the abundance of all these shootings that have been, been put out in the news media and stuff, because they've been happening all over the country, to ignore it as a parent, if you have somebody who's, preteen to teenager, up and they're still living in your house, and you see things, I don't want to say it's your duty, but if that fear drives you that something's not right, then you need to say something. You need to do something. They're living in your house. They're with you. You know your kids. If you're an aunt, you're not. You know your family better than anybody else. If something doesn't sit well, if it fits the pattern of what we've been seeing lately, then get your pride out of the way and say something, because you may be able to prevent a tragedy. And I'm not just blowing smoke and doing a public service message here. It's the truth. Because, especially, case in point with this Texas shooter, I don't know if his parents were around or if he was staying with his grandmother, or if his parents are even around. Common knowledge and common sense just says, he gets into with his grandmother and then he mortally wounds her, that he's probably living with her and they probably had an argument or whatnot. I mean, you can guess, what the situation was, but the parents, I guess we'll find out more as the story goes if they were around or not. but it just looks like that was the guardian was the grandmother, the
Yeah,
closest
that's
to
what it's
him.
like too.
You know what I mean? But those of you that got big families, and you're starting to see the residual effects of COVID and a lot. I mean, hey, it's affected me. It's affected a lot of people
Yeah.
around. Where you walk
What,
around.
what, did, what did you think about COVID? I
I don't.
looked at it.
I
I
was
looked at it
only
like
out. You
this,
got to
right?
remember, I was only out. I just paroled a few months earlier,
If
and then all of a
you have an
sudden, boom.
underlying condition, right? If you
Yeah,
have any of those type of risks, if you're older or whatnot, those are the ones that really suffer the effects of it, man. Because it still ain't going nowhere. It's still here,
yeah.
you know.
Well, on the flip side of that, earlier today, I was talking to somebody on the phone. This person is still getting over COVID, and she has underlying health issues as it is,
So that's
and
what's scary.
she was told, and she was told that if you weren't vaccinated, it would you'd probably be dead right now because she had gotten that sick. But the vaccination is what saved her, and
Hey,
she lives in a liberal area where hey, my body, my choice, which I totally agree with that part of it. Doesn't mean I'm a liberal, but hey, man, I got the right to choose when I'm going to pump it full of my body. You
you
know what
know
I
what?
mean?
You know what's interesting about that, right? Is my body, my choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But yet, those people sometimes could become the biggest hypocrites I've ever seen. They
Oh,
want to tell
sure,
you what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to this and
sure.
that.
I
You know
know
what I'm
some
saying?
I know some personally, and it's
You
funny,
know,
and
I forgot what it was. I
people
said the same
people
response
may
to him. I
think that
said,
way
"My body,
about
my
me, but
choice." You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
You know, yeah, I'm one of those ones too. When it comes to that issue, man, we should have did that because that was an issue a couple of weeks ago. Um, I believe a woman has the right to choose, but you know what I mean. So I'm
a
supportive of
woman's
that, but
always
it
got a
doesn't
right to
mean I
choose.
support it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? On
yeah,
a personal note, how I feel.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. If it's your body, it's your choice. Then it's really your body, your choice. It's
Yeah.
said right there in the saying. If a woman wants to, whether it's her pregnancy, whether it's a vaccination, who the hell am I? So, because someone brought up a question, someone told me over IG, what if it was your old lady, or if it was your daughter, it would still be her choice. You know what I mean?
Honestly, if I was to keep it 100, I think if you can't, I think you have to be responsible. And if you can't be responsible as an adult, you fucking have no business having a kid. I think if you get in a
Yeah,
situation, I think that they should make them pay for it though. You know what I'm saying? When they get the abortions and do all that, man. I don't want to pay for that my taxpayer money because you fucking spread your legs and you fucking, you know what I mean? That's on you.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? That's no disrespect. I mean, the only ones that I would feel worthy of us to pay for are, you know what I mean, are probably those that have had the R against them. You know what I mean? Then that's a whole different story, man. But other
Now
than that,
though,
man, I don't want to pay for it.
now let me ask you this though: does that go for the whole United States, or is that a state to state, their discretion, their laws? It could be one way in
Well,
California, but you go
well,
over
most
to
things go to the state
Ohio.
anyways. That's the issue. I think I
Okay,
think I think if you really think about it, man, if you leave things, I think that's what's going to be the new trend in these countries is everything's going to go back to the state. The state's going to deal with their own issues. You know what I mean? I think
yeah.
that kind of makes it a little bit easier. When you know what I mean? Therefore, you could pick which state you want to live in. You know what I'm saying?
Which I
Um,
think I think you already can, right?
yeah. Well,
But
you know what I mean, though. I
they're
mean,
yeah, yeah.
um,
No, I mean, but I get what you're saying. They try to push you in one
look, the
direction,
states do
you
have
know?
a certain discretion and jurisdiction. The feds can intervene. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If they want. You know what I'm saying? It gets catchy, bro. Politics and all that shit gets a little bit catchy. You know what I'm
They can
saying?
intervene. They could intervene on a positive by giving money, or they could threaten, like the old president could. They could threaten the state and say, if you don't do this, we're pulling the federal funding for this and federal funding for that. We've seen that
Plus, because
with our old
you become basically the government's bitch is what it becomes.
yeah,
When you rely on
yeah,
the government for your fucking services, man, you become the fucking government's bitch. I remember there's a couple times where I met a female, right, that I was talking to. The first thing that turned me off was she was so worried about keeping her benefits and making sure her hours were at the appropriate hour length, right, so she could keep her fucking food stamps and all her medical. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you don't want to
wow,
fucking work? Man, I gotta go. Rato. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
some people get comfortable and they get used to that. You know what I
Bro, they
mean?
get
And
so used to it, they feel entitled. Man,
yeah,
I've
and
seen people who've gotten that kind of services like Section A and whatnot, they don't know what it's like to fucking work out there in the fucking struggle, bro. You know what I'm saying? So they can't even fucking fathom what people go through. You know what I'm saying? Me and you, I mean, look, we're doing good. We changed our lives. You know what I'm saying? Why aren't we being given some free housing? I'd love to get a fucking $2,500 check and be able to work still. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to pay for. Like I said, I know people who've gotten their kids. Look, they've had CPS cases and still kept their Section 8. You know what I mean? Why the hell would I want to pay for that? You know what I'm saying? That's just I really get upset about that because I think that there's no checks and balances to some of the things in the system. They say there is, but there isn't. Because if there was, as soon as that person got arrested, their housing would have got took. That's the law. You didn't even have your fucking kid. You know what I'm saying? I've seen that happen 3 times, bro. 3 times, right? And they kept their fucking housing. And that just goes to show, I mean, I'm thinking in my head, like, how many other people are out there living just like that we're fucking footing the bill for them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, anyways, back to the active shooting because we only got a few minutes left, man. Yeah, the Boston situation was kind of interesting, bro. He on the stock, he carved in famous active shooters' names.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He went in there. He had a full arsenal, shit like that. He targeted just specifically black. I think 10 people were killed and three people injured, I believe, or 6 people injured.
So this was a mimic of what happened a few days ago in Buffalo.
It was a week before it.
Huh.
Yeah, Buffalo.
It was a week before Buffalo.
Okay, you had Buffalo, you had San Bernardino, you had the other one in that little community in Orange County. You had I forgot. You had a lot of shootings this week. You had, I think, there was one out there in Arizona. Yeah, there was a lot, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
You know, I see the gangs going away, but I don't see the violence going away.
No,
you know what I'm saying? I don't think people are on that gang banging cheap like they used to be.
No, I just think that you know. Okay, yeah, it has to do with guns. It has to do with violence, but you know, they're always you're gonna have part of the people spin this narrative. It's about gun violence. When to me, it's just about the violence. Period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's got nothing to do with it. The gun was just a weapon used by somebody who, in most people's eyes, would probably be a coward. You know what I mean?
You can't hide behind a gun, bro. You can hide behind a gun.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, and then again, you know what I mean? Hey, to the family of that 18-year-old, you know, no disrespect, but, you know, hiding behind a gun and gunning down a bunch of helpless children who are in a classroom.
That's a piece of shit right there, man.
Who's in the safe environment. You know, if he was alive, then you know what? Hey, man, glory be to the gods. He's got coming for him.
They killed him, right?
Oh yeah, he was gunned down. From what I heard by the law enforcement, they didn't.
I would have gave him some broomstick treatment, bro.
Yeah.
It would have came when his ass came out his fucking throat, bro. Seriously, I can't stand that, bro. I've had like 2 situations, bro, where I encountered these people, man. One was this cat. He's on fucking Megan's Law, man. Some dude face from Hayward. We gave that motherfucker. I gave that motherfucker the business, bro.
Yeah,
the business.
In the old lives, and the old lives we used to live, man, it was an unsaid rule.
It still is, though. Just because also, you know what? I know we can't act like that, but still, inside, I don't know how I'd react if I see it again. I'm just gonna be honest as a man. You know what I'm saying? I think I would react still, honestly.
Yeah,
I really think I would, because that's kind of stuff. It just gets. I'm still learning how to control being affected by it. You know what I'm saying? But anything like that, man, shit, I can't help it, bro. I'm just being real, bro. I mean, it's, you know, an innocent child, bro. You know what I'm saying? Someone that you're supposed to nurture and prepare for the world and give them, you know, values and instill positive things. You rob them from that, man. You know what You know what I'm saying? So me, I want to rob you
people,
back. You know what I'm saying?
and people wonder, you know, like, well, how could the kid not? You know, why would the kid let him do that? Because the kid, if he or she looks up to you, they're gonna trust your judgment, and what you say is okay. They're gonna think it's okay, even though they might be afraid. They're looking to you to protect them. And so to victim blame, which I've read a lot happens,
Yeah.
you know, these kids don't have the capacity because they trust me and you. And if we're going to guide them into something that's going to hurt them, you know, on a weirdo level, they're going to go along with it just to please you,
Yeah,
you
true.
know, and because kids are easily manipulated, and that's not a put down. That's a reality. That's a fact.
Yeah,
You
man.
know,
I totally.
our guidance and you know, just for, you know, hey man, you know, try this. This is good. You know, just watching my kids. You know, the times that I was out, that I was able to see them grow up. You know, people say all the time, you know, man, she wants to be just she. When you're around, man, she mimics you or he mimics you, vice versa. Anything you do,
it's awesome,
and I
bro.
was always told, you know, and then because the life that I was living, family members or people that were close to me would just say, would kind of grab me by my elbow and just say, hey, this feels good with your child. Fuck, man. Just remember how you're living. And then I would kind of give them a look and be like, not trying to get in your business, man, but if they're mimicking how you are, man, you know, you got to be mindful of what you're doing and what you bring your kids around. That's why the last spiel that we talked about, you never get your family involved in anything that you're doing, because you could put them at risk, whether it's to
You
be
know, and
around
that's the hard
something
thing,
like
bro.
this.
Is like when they start to ask
Yeah,
you, "What are you doing? Where are you going?"
yeah,
Like, man, don't worry about it, man. Like, I mean, like
yeah,
men wiggle different. Thing. I mean, like, well, most men. You know, what I mean, there's some
yeah,
dirtbags out there, bro. You know what I mean, but
yeah.
a lot of times, man, when I'm doing things, I'm on some fucking other shit. You know what I mean?
I know for me, it was hard to turn off whenever I was around, um, you know, my ex or the kids. It took a lot. It took a lot out of me to turn on the fatherhood, the boyfriend, the whole, and pretend that everything was okay. Do the amusement
Yeah,
parks, do whatever,
that's gonna be hard though.
because you know, as an active member participating in those disruptive groups, I'll just say, you have a lot on your plate, man. You know, especially when you're functioning, you got a lot of stuff, and and, you know what I mean. And I always felt guilty over this for the year. I would always hurry and pray that the day would get over. You know, okay, I gotta go. You know, I would do my thing and do whatever. I never really got to enjoy that. The kids remember, oh man, you know, hey, I was there. They give me that because I was there, but they had no idea when I look back at those pictures what I was going through, what happened, where I was in my life back then compared to now, where I don't have those worries, you know. And
Yeah,
anytime I get a chance to make it up, whether it's spending time or doing anything, and I see these things on TV with them, even though, you know, most of my kids are adults except for my preteen, you know, we they don't understand it, especially the preteen. They just say, you know, they don't even care to watch it, which is kind of good, because those are questions, man, that, you know, I'm gonna have to answer sooner or later. But it just depends on the age group that you're dealing with and whatever the situation is at hand. But just thank
yeah.
God, man, that I went through all the pain that I went through, for being a felon to
Hey,
being a man now to doing the things that we're doing. Yeah, is it a struggle? Sure. Does it bring up all the pain, man, watching all this stuff? Well, that's why Flacco and I are doing this spill, because it's dear to our heart. Regardless of how you feel about me, how you feel about him, how you feel about this YouTube
oh,
genre,
yeah,
man, all we're doing on this channel is trying to bring more awareness, bring open dialogue, give our feelings and our thoughts from our perspective and our experiences of inside there, thinking the way we're thinking and chopping it back up to where we are right now as free people, doing this video to provide content for you guys to enjoy and comment on, you know, and give us your feedback. You know what I mean? It's these active shooters, it's becoming more of a common theme, which is scary,
it's scary,
because
man. It's
I
scary,
think
man. Like,
I think a news lady said it best, Flacco. She said, it's getting to the point now, man, where nowhere is safe.
Nah, bro. Like I don't
You're
like
more
going in.
concerned about
I
going
don't
to
like
the
going in
store now.
Walmarts or any places like that. I'm checking my scenery all the time, bro.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? It's and no matter what state,
Doesn't
where
matter,
we're
bro.
at, if you're in California,
You know,
if you're all the way in an industrial town like Buffalo to a small town in Texas, all it
doesn't matter
takes is
where, bro.
just, you know what I mean? And that doesn't matter now. Kids are not off limits, it seems like. Schools aren't off limits. You
No,
got a bunch of kids playing to a bunch of
that's
kids laid
that's
down,
why I
man.
think
Like,
they need to reinforce the open carry law, bro. Especially in the minority communities, bro, because there'd
yeah.
be a lot of police abuse as well. When
Oh,
you know
yeah.
that people have the right to bear arms,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
That's a whole, that's going to be a whole nother spill now. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
seen,
wait. You know what?
I
We've
read
been
some
on for
stuff
30 minutes.
about,
We're trying to keep these spills for 30 minutes until we build this
yeah,
channel up. So we
yeah,
keep it concise and show the
exactly.
viewers what we're about. You know what I'm saying? This is a good one, man. The unfortunate thing is this will probably be a topic we'll be touching on in another 6 months from now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we'll have a whole different perspective of it, man. But for now, man, it's your boy Flacco, Big Choco, man. We're out.
You love your kids.